Hey, what's going on, friends, family? My name is Skylent, and today we are going to be talking about my picks for the best free-to-play FPS. It's been a while since I've done a video like this. So many have come out in so many emergent genres, and that's going to be the moral of the story here for today's video. Each and every game, all 10 plus an honorable mention, is actually in its own unique genre. So these are basically, essentially the winners of multiple top 10 lists, essentially, over the years. And I think that should be okay, but a lot of you guys probably just want, like, just arena shooters, just battle royales, or just competitive shooters, etc. But I'm giving you the wealth of options here. There's going to be an FPS that is objectively known as good to somebody somewhere, and if it's new to you, then you should definitely give it a shot. Oh, FPS, get it? Give it a shot. Okay, anyways, so that's it. Intro out. Let's keep the hype alive. Let's have a good time. And if you do have a good time, then, you know, maybe subscribe. Alright guys, so the first game to talk about is Paladins. You know, how is Paladins doing now? How is it holding up against the titan that is Overwatch, and as well competing with a bunch of other emergent free-to-play games, and always standing against Team Fortress 2. The thing is, though, is that while a lot of games do compete with offshoot genres, really, Paladins is pretty different from Team Fortress 2. And actually, even comparing it to what it kind of was a clone of Overwatch, it actually does feel pretty different depending on the character you're playing, and sometimes it can feel pretty similar, but regardless, Paladins is actually a genuinely fun game. I do like the customization options with the loadouts and everything, and then itemization's kind of boring, but regardless, you do have some customization within the gameplay, and frankly, I like some, not all, but some characters that are paralleled in Paladins from Overwatch. I prefer them. I like Bomb King more, I like Maeve more, comparing to, you know, respectively Junkrat and Genji, and I think that Paladins actually does have some uniquity to it, and overall its feel, and its sort of brand of color and chaos, and, you know, and plus it's free. Now, how free is it? Frankly, I can't even really review that because I was given, like, everything. I was given tons of stuff because I had to give away stuff. I literally did giveaways because of high res, but actually, even with being given tons and tons of stuff, I still have not unlocked every loadout, everything for every character, and I feel like it probably could be seen as pretty grindy. So with that being detrimental and why it's lower on the list, also it does have some other competing games like Overwatch, which I'm definitely a fan of. Paladins is just no, it's still pretty good. It's still pretty great. Now Smite is more popular, I think, right now at the moment for high res games, and its offshoot Realm Royale has just been completely dumpstered, but Paladins is still, in my opinion, the most solid, like, hero shooter, like core hero shooter, you know, Overwatch clone-ish game out there. Basically, if you don't got money and you don't want to play Overwatch, Paladins is genuinely a fun time. Though, I think that is the kind of, yeah, that's the point. Keyword is fun. It's not exactly the most competitive game. Its esport, you know, is nowhere near, actually, most of what else is on the list. I also do have to relay that there are quite a few glitches and problems with this game overall. So, in terms of solidity and, of course, esport factor, yeah, if you're looking for that inside of a free-to-play FPS, more toward the top of the list is going to be the games for you. Alright, moving on though, we've actually got a casual, is it casual? It's kind of hardcore. Anyways, it's a co-op game, so it's not an esport game, but Cry of Fear. Cry of Fear can be played single player even, but I played it co-op, and what the fuck? This game is creepy. This game is also not easy at all. Now, maybe that's just me, maybe I'm really into that, and I like my horror games to feel horrific, but Cry of Fear is one of those janky, you know, Source-style horror games. There's actually a few of these that are free-to-play. I think Codename Cure is out there. Yeah, a couple of zombie games, couple things here and there. But Cry of Fear, I think, is the one that a lot of people know of, especially because it does have single-player. And it is just, its brand of horror is kind of, it's very Silent Hill-ish. So if you are looking for an FPS that is like a hardcore survival horror, you know, you got to count your bullets, got to make your shots count, and you can play co-op online with people for free, Cry of Fear is that. Then again, there's tons of others, and I could make a whole freaking list on those. Like, most of the games on this list, I could do that. But anyways, if you have any you want to shout out in the comments below, definitely do. But Cry of Fear is going to be the one that I shout out. Now, Halloween just came by and passed, and there's a lot of free-to-play horror games out there. A lot of them are FPS, but again, Cry of Fear is the one that I am going to recommend. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but basically, like, it's just got really twitchy, creepy, like, atmospheric horror, and also, again, not to understate, it's kind of a harder, harsher game. So not just a cute game to play with the girlfriend or something like that. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of real. So, you know, if you're going to sink your teeth into it, it's going to sink its teeth into you. And next up, we actually have kind of another horror game, sort of, but it's on this list for a different genre, specifically. By the way, horror doesn't seem to be like a like it's actually a genre, a little bit, isn't it? Like you have thriller, horror, it's like horror always has a subgenre attached to it. Anyways, rant aside, this subgenre is actually going to be a deception game. Now, there's a few that have, I guess you could say like asymmetrical multiplayer, or it's like somebody is the monster, what have you, and they're free to play, and they're, FPSs, like the defunct now Evolve, rest in peace, but Deceit is one of those where somebody is is a human, but in disguise is actually a monster. You or a couple people, and you're running through this Saw-like sort of game show kind of maze thing where you got to do these mini objectives, and it's all very maniacal, but at certain times people turn, they kind of werewolf out. It's literally werewolf, but they werewolf out, they turn into monsters, and they kill everyone. So everyone has pistols, guns, different weapons and gadgets, and you want to shoot the freaking monsters. But it is it's like Among Us. It's like Among Us or Unfortunate Spacemen. And again, there's a few other FPS like SCP is also kind of like this, but I think I'm going to shout out Deceit just because its overall quality and its overall focus on, everyone's got guns and everyone is shooting, and a lot of the mini games require FPS mechanics as well. So this one I think is interesting. Honestly, I'm throwing it in here because I wanted to make 10 to even it out, but this is pretty cool, and I do want to see more games like this, especially free to play. There's actually a lot of games like Witch It that I wish was free, but anyways, Deceit, if you guys want a game like Among Us but an FPS, this is the one that I'm gonna talk about. And next, and by the way, not really ordering these in like any sort of important order because they all are different genres, but that's PlanetSide 2. I'm saying that because PlanetSide 2 is actually like probably my favorite free-to-play FPS. It's really getting up there. In terms of just the one that I want to play the most oftenly, it's like my late night chill kind of game, even though it is the most bonkers game pretty much. PlanetSide 2, it can be really stressful, it can be really intense, but basically it's the MMO FPS. It is the MMO FPS. You could say technically there's this one and that one like Darkfall and blah blah blah. No. PlanetSide 2 is the MMO FPS. It is the MMO that's easiest to get in, and like as soon as you log in, you're playing the MMO, you're fighting hundreds of other people that are trying to fight hundreds of other people that are trying to kick your ass. And yeah, so it's, it's like, it's a freaking, it's a royale, so it's 3 different factions, and they're all, vying for victory against different territories. You're sieging bases, defending stuff and things, and rockets and lasers, and it's, also, bonus points is that it's mixed combat, so there's, planes, or I guess, there's vehicles, tanks, and hover bullshits and four-wheelers. Who knows, man? But there's some other games I could have talked about, like Heroes and Generals, which is more Battlefield-like. I liked a few games out there, like warbrokers.io, but in the end, PlanetSide 2 is just those games, but bigger, better, and I really do like the cheesy sci-fi aesthetic, which also gives it bonus points for being unique in the MMO space as well. So yeah, if you want an MMO FPS, this is the one. Next up, we have one that is pretty unique, and I'm putting it on here for a lot of different reasons. I'm not gonna, talk too much about it because it's Team Fortress 2. We know Team Fortress 2. We know of it. TF2 is a game. It was like one of the first games that I played when I got. Okay, so when you go to Full Sail University, you actually get a free. Well, it's not a free laptop. You pay, $64,000 for it, but you get a laptop to help with game design and everything. And the first thing I downloaded on it was Team Fortress 2, and yeah, man, the rest is history. I played the shit out of that. I played a lot of Pyro, to be honest, but whatever. It's just a really cute game. Now, some people would say it's a hero shooter. Actually, it's really kind of not. It's a class-based shooter, and it actually has a totally unique flow to it. It's also not counting like the weird mini games, custom servers, like the surf maps, stuff like that. Like the Team Fortress 2 and the way people play Team Fortress 2, while maybe on the surface, if you just look at just general trailer footage or something, it looks like Paladins, it looks like Overwatch. Actually, this is sort of a predecessor game that has not really been replicated, and that's why people still play it. Overwatch and Paladins, they're totally different beasts. Those are actually a totally different, unique genre called hero shooter. Team Fortress 2 has unique customization with the different classes. It's just those classes are very distinct. And the map design overall is longer winded, and there's a lot of like little tiny fun physics based things that happen in Team Fortress 2 as well that have been extrapolated upon, and that's why you have surf maps, jump maps, and things like that. The seasonal events, and you know, just playing Team Fortress 2 for the trading is even a big thing. So Team Fortress 2 is this really weird kind of hybridization, if you wanted to say, of like if you were to take Call of Duty and Overwatch and mix them together, it's actually kind of like that, maybe, but really it's its own thing. And so games that have been inspired by it have never truly replicated it, and that's why it's still on this list. Next we have Unturned, and really just simply, shortly, Unturned is the best free-to-play zombie game. And we're actually getting an Unturned 2, hopefully that will also be free-to-play, because Unturned definitely has some like performance issues, and it is kind of like really cheesy, but if you wanted an FPS to play like with someone younger, I don't know, like a cousin, daughter, family member, girlfriend, you know, just somebody who maybe is newer to games, Unturned is like the most hardcore game that's meant for kids. It's so weird. But yeah, anyways, comparing it even to like old school games like H1Z1, oh my god. Like one was called, it's like a bunch of DayZ clones, and even compared to DayZ, to be completely honest, even the buy-to-play games, most people play Unturned compared to those games. So free-to-play or otherwise, Unturned is like, it's just the zombie FPS. And yeah, no, it's got legit aim mechanics. I like the way scopes work in the game. You actually got to rummage around, find weapons, piece together. You got to build up a base, stuff like that. And the zombies will kill you. The zombies will kill you. They actually matter a little bit. And I don't know, the community for Unturned has actually been really cool. So my last first impressions, I had fun with it. You know, it's still doing well. And Unturned 2 is coming out, and it's going to perform much, much better and be much more simulation based as well. So more hardcore, actually. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully you guys are too. Number 4 on the list, and I might be crucified for this, so it's really a toss-up, right? Because it's obvious. One of these games has to go on here. I am picking one per genre. I'm gonna say Valorant. I'm just gonna say that, because my preference is for hero shooter style mechanics. I do like characters, I do like magic and stuff like that. So yeah, Paladins and Team Fortress 2, yeah, sure, all that kind of stuff. Valorant, I do think, is a game that appeals to me more than pretty much any other tactical shooter. I don't know, Rainbow Six Siege is really cool too, though that's not free to play, obviously. But yeah, Counter-Strike Go maybe should be on this list as obviously, historically, the best free to play FPS. But in terms of the genre, it's really obvious to everyone that Valorant is directly competing with Counter-Strike Go, even though it has a different aesthetic, and even though it does add mechanics. In my opinion, just as a noob to the genre in these games in general, it does seem that Valorant is layering mechanics and has debatably more depth. And while Counter-Strike Go definitely has more of a solidity with its esports scene and with its performance, debatably, but then again, it's also an older engine, and I don't know, we'll see how Valorant's still very, very new, but it's something that appeals to me, especially because I am such a noob and novice. But if you guys want to, you know, disconnect with me for that, that's fine, absolutely. Let me know in the comments below which one is actually better, because you play these games likely because they are sports. So which one is a better sport? But I know for me, the better casual game by far is Valorant, and it kind of lets me feel like I'm a competitive gamer sometimes. So depending on how you play, one game or the other is going to be better, but my vote is Valorant. It's the new kid on the block, and I think it's just bigger and better, and it appeals to me, and I think it appeals to a wider audience as well. Alright, number 3 is going to be Diabolical. Diabolical for arena shooters. Basically, this is the arena shooter now. So back in the day, and even like recently, even though the genre has basically died, Quake Live was the arena shooter, which was Quake 3 and then put free to play, and it was even a browser-based game. But they kind of revoked that, changed their minds, and then they tried to make Quake Champions, and that was like the free to play game. But Quake Champions kind of ran like Dookie, and then also like the graphics were kind of weird. I don't know, like there's a bunch of weird problems with Quake Champions, and of course the controversy of adding in the hero shooter mechanics. You would think that would be my pick, but it's not. If I'm gonna pick an arena shooter, I want the game, you know, as a sport, to be performant, to run, to look good, to be clean, and just jump in and be able to play the arena shooter, and that's Diabolical. And now that this is kind of newer, we'll see where it actually goes, if they're gonna push tournaments and things like that. Hopefully with that epic money they do, but I'm a little dubious about it. But for right now, Diabolical, I think by most people around the world, comparing free-to-play games or otherwise, the arena shooter genre is really not doing that great. Diabolical is the arena shooter to play right now. But then again, whenever a new arena shooter comes out and it's like, you know, it's the newest thing, the newest biggest thing, that is the one that everyone plays, and then everyone pisses out for like, you know, after a month or even a week, sometimes a day, you know, like Reflex Arena, you know, arena shooters just are not doing that great. But if you had to pick one and play one and try the genre, instead of Quake Champions, which sounds really, God, I really want to like it, but it just doesn't run that good, Diabolical is the one to play. It's just simple. Hey, this is Arena FPS. This is how you play them. Here's some game modes. Jump in, quick play. It's good times. I actually really love free-for-all in arena shooters, and Diabolical just feels really freaking good. Now, yeah, again, maybe you could say Quick Champions, but I really do care about populations a little bit, and Diabolical has maybe some more players, debatably. It's just overall an easier time to get into the arena shooter concepts with this game. This is the one, and I hope it does prosper. And number 2, I guess here on the list, we're getting close to the end for Call of Duty style game. I don't know what just like a run and gun boots on the ground style game. That's going to be Krunker.io. And I love this game, and I know it's an IO game, and it's browser based, but you can also download it. But guys, it really runs great. And the gameplay that I might show you maybe isn't fully explanatory of how epic this game can be with bunny hopping and how good people can get. This game is legit competitive, but it's also so easy just to jump in and mess around and just kind of get a quick FPS fix. You know, just like, you know, Call of Duty, you just play a couple rounds, boom, pow, you know, call in a nuke, whatever. Now, Krunker doesn't have anything like that, but it is kind of more like, you know, OG Call of Duty or something like that. OG FPSs, but it runs really great. It's got a blocky attitude to it, but it also has stupid fun game modes like the gun game. There's jump maps, parkour maps, there's weird mini games it's hard to explain what they are because they're unique to Krunker. And then also it has built-in mod support where, like, literally in the browser you can just click download a mod that makes all the guns sound like it's coming from someone's mouth, like it's beatboxing, you know, just really bullshit stuff like that. And so Krunker is a great combination of casual fun, but also it can come in a competitive package as well if you really push it. Again, I know it's an IO game, but seriously, it's not just for kids. Like, it's like the most, it is, you know what, I think it is fair to say it is the most legitimate IO game, and then carrying forward to that, yeah, it's the best browser-based FPS by far. And number 1, and this is where I started the list actually, it's Apex. Best free-to-play FPS. Now, I'm somebody who played Titanfall, and Titanfall 2, I felt like there was some actually weird mechanics with the FPS, so I kind of dropped a little bit there. But with Apex, I came back, and while it doesn't have the greatest netcode ever, and I could really nitpick it, I can only feel like nitpicking it so much because it is actually so good. And again, it is a battle royale that plays so quickly with the sliding and everything. I love me the grappling robot guy. For those, I don't know. I really appreciate the mobility of the game. Now, I'm somebody who, I just love mobility in general. You know, I play characters like Genji or Tracer in Overwatch. Oh yeah, by the way, this is kind of a soft hero shooter. Like, you do have characters in this game. It is a battle royale. It is hyper mobility, and the abilities do matter, you know. But at the same time, Apex did some really revolutionary things for the battle royale genre. With a team focus, where it's like, okay, you jump in as 3 and you win as 3, basically. So there's respawns, you know, they have you go into the beacon, you spawn your teammate, you come back into the fight. So generally, I think overall the balance is great. I found that there's a few weapons that really just were garbage, but for the most part, I don't know, Apex just felt really competitive, and the aiming, just the pure feel of the game, because the mobility aspects, the battle royale aspects, looking around, peeking, and just, you know, it's a very low time to kill generally, except with the mobility mechanics where stuff and things go down. There's just a high level of skill expression that relates directly to the FPS mechanics and how you move your mouse. So I really do appreciate that. I know I'm glossing over a lot of things, and there are some things to nitpick and talk about, but overall, Apex is popular and competitive for reasons, and I think more people should definitely give it a shot, despite that it might look a little hardcore, and then some people might look a little casual, depending on where you're coming from, but actually, I think it's the best of both worlds. It's a really fun game just to jump in and shit on some kids. Or, you know what, yeah, you might get slapped out a little bit, but actually, it's not that hard to learn. It's not as crazy complex as Titanfall, as the OG Titanfall and Titanfall 2. It's not as ridiculous in terms of physics-based gameplay as actually Team Fortress 2 can get, or Diabolical, like an arena shooter. It's really got a nice mix of mechanics that I think lend themselves perfectly well to the balance that they have with the Battle Royale. So definitely, if there's any Battle Royale that I actually recommend, it's Apex. And there's some that are more obviously appealing to children. There's some that are obviously more geared toward casual gameplay. But no, actually, I think if you want to play a Battle Royale, you do need that sort of like edge, that biting feel of a competition that can come from Battle Royales. Yeah, no, that's Apex. Apex can deliver you from casual to competitive just naturally through the ebb and flow of gameplay. You just naturally kind of get good at FPS from playing Apex. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for my best free-to-play FPS. I'm going to leave with an honorable mention actually here, AimLab. If you guys want to get good at, I don't know, FPS stuff and things, there's a free-to-play lab for aiming called AimLab. It's pretty popular and a lot of people play it. Even actually like MOBA people, you know, it's just really good mouse warm-up, stuff like that. Some people play Osu, you know, whatever, but no, AimLab's pretty cool. AimLab's pretty up there. Me personally, I just prefer to play a variety of FPS games and play FPS over and over. But if you're somebody who likes labbing and really analyzing your aim mechanics, it can actually help you, like, you know, level you up to see what you're doing wrong, what you could be doing right, and the best mechanics overall, literally physically with your body. Which is what makes FPS really fun, right? It's not always just, okay, it happens to be FPS, maybe it's more immersive. Sure, that might be why we play Cry of Fear or something like Deceit, or maybe even an MMO, but in general, most people play FPS because of how it feels. So for most of these games, overwhelmingly, I picked them because of how they feel to be played, and hopefully you guys understand that. And I think, for the most part, these games are the champions of their genres, with some being debatable and contentious, but sure you guys are going to let me know in the comments below. Much love, friends and family, and if there's any new free-to-play FPS you want me to play, I'll try to jam on that, and let's stream it. Let's play together, join the Discord, all that cool stuff and things, like, subscribe, Patreon, YouTube stuff, woo! That's pretty much it. Outro out, guys. Keep the hype alive. My name's Skylent, and I'll see you again next time.